Hey guys, Matt Kentucky Range Time, back with another episode of our 444 Marlin Ballistic Gel Block Test Series. And in today's episode, we're going to be looking at the Hornady 265 grain FP interlock bullet. Now, this is a bullet that Hornady has made pretty much exclusively for 444 Marlin. Even in Hornady's load manuals, there is no data that shows up anywhere for this bullet except in the 444 Marlin. It's too heavy, and well, not too heavy, but the interlock portion of this and the hardness of the lead doesn't make it suitable for 44 Magnum, even out of rifles, and you'll see here coming up. It has a hard time getting this bullet to start doing anything, even at 44 Magnum rifle velocity. So we're going to see what it does in 444 Marlin, and I do have velocity data I'm going to import from the 44 mag test that we've done previously. That data will also be on the spreadsheet at the end of the video. The load data and the powders, all the particulars of the loading will also be on that spreadsheet at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that, along with a ballistics chart that shows the velocities that we generate in this test, and I also have kind of plotted on there the velocities from the 44 mag test, and you'll be able to look at the expansion or lack of expansion that we got in the 44 mag test. Too many fours in here, and you'll be able to see how far downrange it would equate to this max loading in 444 Marlin that we started testing with. So stay tuned for that. If you get a chance, there's an information tab up here that'll take you to all my affiliate partners. Anything that you pick up there will help support the page. So if you shop any of those, it would be much appreciated. I am still sitting on one strike currently. Coming off of 2 strikes and back in the fall, YouTube saw fit to assess me a strike on a Vortex AR Spark out of the box and riser setup video. No gun even shown anywhere in the video, but I was facilitating the sale of firearms. Guys, I can't get ahead on this. Derek over on the Gun Dungeon in his R&R video this week also had similar items going on, and Chris from 740, a lot of the other guys I know that have the gun channels, Kentucky Patriot, Steve's my neighbor up here, great guy. If you haven't already, go check out his page. He's not posted anything recently. YouTube beat him down so far that I think that he said that he just doesn't even have the heart to go out and generate content and go to the effort of posting stuff anymore, because YouTube is really making it a not friendly place for good people like Steve to try to share honest content and try to help people out. And so it's a shame, guys, but there's no way to regulate it. The government can't do anything. I don't know. If anybody's got any great ideas, I would love to hear those. But for now, you just got to tiptoe around and do the best you can. And the option is to quit putting this content up. And guys, I enjoy putting the content up. I enjoy doing this testing. It's my hobby, first and foremost, that I have found a way of generating some cash to at least cover the cost of my hobby. And I want to keep doing this. And, you know, I'm cognizant of the guidelines, and I intentionally create content that does not violate the community guidelines, yet they'll make up things out of the blue. I mean, my logo at the end of the video was what they gigged my red dot video on. It's literally the timestamp they gave for the infraction was in the middle of the 15-second slide at the end of the video with my KRT logo on it. So I don't know, guys. Anyway, enough of that. Let's turn around here and take a look at this loading, and then we'll get out to the range, and then we'll come back in. We'll get the bullets pulled out of the gel, and we'll take a good look at those. We'll pull in the 440. We will pull in the 44 mag video bullets. Gosh, we'll pull in the 40. I'm not even going to edit this out, guys. This is just this is the things that I deal with myself trying to get through some of these videos. We will get the bullets out of the library back here from the 44 Magnum test with us, and we'll pull those in and show those over here beside the 444 Marlin video. So, all right, guys, let's get at this. So we're using H4198 to drive these bullets in lieu of IMR 4198, which I have been using in several of these 444 Marlin loads. We're setting these off with Remington number 9.5 M Magnum rifle primers. And of course, here's the bullet. These are part number 4300 from Hornady. And like I said, this is an older box. And here is a good look at this. So you can see here about how much of this bullet's down in the case. This is the 47 grain charge. Actually, this load is above Hornady's book max, but it is the max load listed on Hodgdon's reloading data center for this bullet and this powder. And actually, I used H4198 because they had a higher velocity with the Hodgdon versus the IMR 4198. So here's a good look at this. So this is the soft point, and like I said, this lead is a little bit harder than what you normally would see on a lot of other soft points, and it actually takes a little bit more to get this thing to start expanding. So there will be the spreadsheet at the end. And like I said, low data, powder charges, overall lengths, all the data is on there. So if you are interested in loading this bullet, you can go back here to the end of this video and pull that data out. All of my new videos include the spreadsheet with the data, all the load data at the end. So some of the earlier ones do not, but I have listed it in the description for a lot of those videos. If you come across one that doesn't have that data and you're interested, reach out to me and I'll do my best to get that back over to you. So, all right, guys, let's get out to the range and we'll put some of these down in the gel and be right back with a look at how they performed. All right, guys, next test up is a classic bullet. This is the 265 grain Flat Point from Hornady. This is I think they actually call this an InterLock bullet. And get a look at it here. It's this bullet basically was a dedicated bullet for the 444 Marlin. So we're actually going to be running this in this 444 Marlin. This is the rifle that this bullet was designed to run out of. And I have several load ladders here with the powder charges decreasing so that we can get a variety of velocity ranges out of this and be able to generate some velocity data to look downrange and see what kind of expansion we're getting out of this. So some of the other tests, I'm only doing like 2 or 3 ladders before I hit 44 mag velocities. This is one of the first bullets I loaded, and I got a little more carried away with that one, and I did actually like 5 or 6 different loadings for this. But what I discovered as I started testing these was that a 2 or 3 grain powder change didn't give a very big decrease in velocity. So I started doing like 5 grain powder decreases, and so I'm going to go through these, and actually that's about what we're going to end up doing. I'll probably end up shooting maybe 3 of these. So, all right, let's get turned around here and get started. All right, guys, and the wind has been brutal today. Doesn't really affect my shots as much because we're only at 10 yards, but everything I've got's blowing around out here. I can't keep my little powder can on top of the block that I normally use on the slow motion. It's a cue for me when I'm editing to find out where the shot takes, because sometimes it's hard to see in the slow motion when you're scrubbing through exactly that point where the bullet hits. So I have 5 different loadings in this, 47 grains, 43 grains, 39, 33, and 28. So I did a 4 grain drop here, a 4 grain drop here, and then 5 grain and 5 grain. So we'll probably shoot the first 3 of these. If we see expansion stopping with any of these, we'll probably stop. But let's go ahead and see what we can do. The gel block that's out here, I'm not expecting a lot of fragments or anything coming off these bullets. Should get a decent wound channel and some pretty good penetration. The wound channels will be important on the first couple of shots, not so much on the latter shots, because we're looking for more farther down range and expansion data on those. But hopefully, if I can place these pretty well, we'll still get a decent look at these. This is a brand new piece of gel block. I had done the Bear Creek Ballistics test in the other end of it. So let's see what we do here. All right. So again, our bungee cords are barely working. I've got 2 bungee cords on that. Fortunately, the block stayed on the table, and we didn't get it full of dirt, gravel, and everything else that's out there. Velocity, 2296.2. So nice velocity out of this for a 265 grain bullet. Let's go down here and see what it did. All right, guys, so wound track starts right here, and we get really nice expansion on this by about 1 inch inside the gel. And then we got this nice big wound channel right here, probably 2.5 inches tall. Looks like it actually stays opened up until it gets down in this area, and then we start blending in with the wound tracks from the previous test. But it starts settling down right here about 8 inches, and then we get straight line penetration down here to about 18.5 inches. You can see it back in there. And from the top view, we got some really nice expansion on this bullet, guys. I don't see any lead down through here anywhere, so that means that this bullet actually retained most of its weight. You can see back here, let me zoom out. So you can see back here the wound track that we got closing up down here about 8 inches. So, all right, that was the book max load for this charge. And you know, this is probably, other than maybe some tweaking for accuracy, this is probably the load that you'd end up using. So let's go back and shoot these lower velocity charges and get our velocity data and our expansion data so we can go back to the shop and put these all in the spreadsheet and do some comparisons on this. All right, guys, so that was the 47 grain charge. Yes, 47 grains. And next up, we've got 43 grains. So this is a 4 grain powder drop. All right, once again, we managed to keep it on the table. All right, velocity, 2172.7. Not as big a velocity drop as I was expecting, honestly. Still at 2,777 foot-pounds of energy. Let's go see what this one did. So we did manage to keep the gel block on the table and mostly under the bungee cord. Let me get this straightened up here so we can get some measurements, and then we'll be right back. All right, guys, so wound track starting right here, and we're much more clear from the other wound tracks with this shot. Again, expansion, full expansion here by 3/4 to 1 inch in. We got this nice wide wound track coming all the way down through here. Doesn't start closing up till we get down here around 11 or 12 inches. And then by the time we leave the first block, we're in straight line penetration. And we run all the way out here to, looks like 23.5 inches. And guys, that's a big, beautiful thing right there. That looks to be about 1 inch in diameter, if I had to guess. And there's the top side view. We'll get these dug out in a minute, but first we've got a couple more downloads to test. So let's go ahead and get these in the gel block. All right, guys, so I think we had about 120 foot per second velocity change with that 4 grain reduction of powder. And this one's 39, so this is also another 4 grain reduction. Let's go ahead and shoot it. 120 foot per second is probably 50-ish yards, so we're getting some good data here. The more of these I shoot, the harder it's going to be to see the wound channels, but we'll still be getting some good data on the velocity and expansion on these. All right, so this is the 39. This is the 39 grain charge. We're at 1881. Shot before that was at 2172. So we dropped 190, just under 200 foot per second velocity difference on that one. So a little bit bigger span for 4 grains with that shot than what we had for the first shot. And let's go check it out. All right, guys, so we've got the top wound track right here, and again, similar expansion from the previous shot, similar permanent wound channel down through here, maybe not hardly as big, and we go into straight line penetration right here again, about 13, 14 inches, and our overall penetration comes all the way out to 26¼ inches, and this is us right here. Nice big flat mushroom head on this thing, and I'm going to say, guys, that we're probably getting into the velocity range where this bullet's going to shine. And this is going to be somewhere downrange. We've got nice expansion, nice penetration, and this is probably the favorite velocity for this bullet so far from what we've shot. But I've got 1 or 2 more loads. Let's try to get them in here. And like I said, it's getting even harder to see the wound channel up here, but we're getting some really good penetration and expansion data on this bullet. So let's keep going with this. All right, guys, so that last shot was 39 grains, and the upcoming shot here is going to be 33 grains. And this thing is doing amazing, actually. A little frustrating that I can't show the wound track and the gel block as much as I'd like, but the data we're getting is extremely important. All right, 1595, so just under 1600. We've got a over 200 foot velocity decrease again with this shot. So let's go see what it did. I do have one more, actually. I've got 3 more. This one's 28 grains, this one's 26 grains, and this one's 24 grains. But these are going to be getting really close to where our data from the 44 Magnum picks up. So depending on what this one did on the, as far as the expansion goes, I probably will stop at the 28 grain. So let's go look at. Well, I might have spoke too soon, guys. So this was the entry for this last shot, and you can see right down through here, there's not a lot going on with this one. I don't really see any expansion at all, and I'm getting ready to show you that we track right on down through here. Let me get down here. Got to move a lot on this one, and this is us going right here and we actually exit the gel block at 51 inches. So I'm going to call this probably zero expansion, 51 inches of penetration, which is pretty phenomenal in itself. I mean, we're still putting basically a 44 caliber hole 51 inches into whatever it is. If it's a broadside shot, it's guaranteed that it's exiting unless it hits bone. But if you're on a black bear or an elk and you're shooting straight down the straight down the front end of this, I mean, you're going to be shooting halfway through the animal long ways with this bullet, and it's going to do some massive damage on the way. I do have one more of this one loaded up. Let's go shoot it. I would like to see a catch with this bullet, so let's try to get a catch with this one just to confirm the zero expansion. And honestly, on another shot with this, we might get just a little bit different results. So let's go ahead and try it out. All right, guys. So I wanted to do another shot with the 33 grain that we didn't get the catch with, but this is the point where I only started loading one load for each one of these. I had multiples for the first ones. So we're going to have to drop down to the 28 grain. Now this is going to be 5 grains less than the previous shot that we didn't get any expansion on, but we'll go ahead and put this in the gel block and just see how far it goes. And we might be able to see a little bit of deformation on the nose. So, all right, mostly because it's already loaded, but let's go ahead and try this one. All right, velocity on that shot was 1502.8. So there again, we had a decent little velocity drop. Let's see what that actually was. 1508, and the previous shot was 1595. So so less than 100 foot per second. It was actually 87 foot per second velocity drop with that one for 4 grains. For 5 grains less powder. That was a 33 to 28 grain jump. So looks like this is a very hard bullet, and looks like as we're getting our lower energies that it's just not accelerating as much at the end of the barrel. So, all right, guys, let's go see if we got a catch with this. All right, guys, no catch again. We came all the way down here to 44 inches and again exited the gel block here. So I'm going to call this no expansion. It does look like that we got some cavitation right here. So this bullet probably tumbled at some point right here and then straightened back out. And a lot of times when it crosses gel blocks, the gap right here, it'll upset it a little bit and cause it to tumble. So, all right. We'll get the samples we got dug out of here and have a closer look at them here in just a second. So here's the results, and this was the 47 grain charge. This was the Book Max charge from Hodgdon. We decreased 4 grains for 43 grains on this one, and 4 more grains decrease for 39 grains on this one here. And you can see that these pretty noticeable difference in these. The max charge, of course, now this is at 10 yards, and yes, it is going to tear these bullets up quite a bit at 10 yards with the max load. You know, we're 10 yards past muzzle velocity, but as we get on out with some of these other lighter charges, it's going to simulate farther distances downrange, and this is what that's what we're trying to show here with items number 2 and 3, and what the velocity decreases will do. And we actually have these on the ballistics chart coming up here in a few minutes as well. So nice big mushroom on this, really nice mushroom on shot 2. This one is at 2172, so 2296, almost 2300. Might have been slightly overdriving it. Not horrible though, but it seems like it came into its own down here at about 2172. And weight retention was really good, 95% on all 3 of these bullets. We ended up shedding away these little copper leaves right here as it folded back. There's one left on this one. There's one left on that one. There's a couple of them on this, but there was a lot of those in the gel block, guys. And that's where most of our lost weight came from. And I was surprised at how consistent the retained weight was between these three bullets, seeing how much difference there was in the expansion between these. So these are the 4 bullets from the 44 mag test, and this was before I started using the Rossi trifecta with the 22-inch barrel. So this is the 20-inch R92. You can see we just barely had a little bit of a flattening out of the nose on this. It was trying, but just could not get up enough steam. Not a lot going on with the 9.5-inch Super Red Hawk or the 6.5 Taurus. And honestly, guys, the 2 3/4-inch Combat Magnum looks like it was new out of the box. We might even reload this one again. No, ain't gonna mess the library up. So here's what this represents. Between these 2 bullets here, this one being at 1881 and this one being at 1581, so 300 foot per second. Inside this 300 foot per second gap is where we stopped getting expansion. The 33 grain 444 was at 1595, was just a few feet per second slower than this one. That's the one that had 51 inches of penetration before it exited the gel block. So that's our data. So somewhere in between there is where we ended that. The charge difference there was actually was 6 grains, and that was a big jump. I think I might have miscalculated there because I'd been doing 4 grain jumps. Should have been in there at about 35, and that probably would have given us a little bit more data there. But either way, we kind of know what's happening where with these velocities other than this little gap right here. Here in a few minutes when the ballistics chart comes up, the Hornady bullets are in red. The velocities are transferred over into the chart, and the 44 mag data is entered in green, and you can see the distances and how far out we've got with these. So, you know, no expansion on these, but these things are still going to drive a deep, long wound track through whatever they hit. And if they hit bone or something, you still might get some expansion out of them. So all in all, a pretty good performance from this special design bullet, specifically designed by Hornady for the 444 Marlin. So especially in the faster 444 velocities. All right, guys, so there it is. So Hornady's 265 grain FP interlock bullet. Now, Hornady's load manual, 11th edition, they've got the 12th edition out, but I'm still working out the 11th. Max charge there was, velocity was 2,200 foot per second out of a 24-inch barrel. I'm setting at 2,300 foot per second, just under 2,300 foot per second, with the data from the Hodgson Reloading Data Center. And Hornady's factory loaded ammo, this very bullet in the factory loading, is listed at 2,400 foot per second out of a 24-inch barrel. So their factory loading is 200 foot per second faster than their book load max, and I landed right in the middle of that using the data from Hodgson. So probably is a pretty consistent load. I'd be curious to test some of the factory loadings just to see if they're actually making 2,400 out of that barrel. But nevertheless, it is what it is, guys. So this was the expansion we're going to end up getting around 110 yards downrange, and somewhere just past this is where we slow down enough to stop getting any expansion. So this is probably going to be 150-yard bullet max, somewhere in that neighborhood, if you're looking for expansion. If you're just wanting to punch a .430 hole through something, this thing's going to be good out quite a ways out. Let me see what the data was here real quick. I've got the range chart in here at 400 yards, and this slide is coming up here in a few minutes. At 400 yards, the 44 mag bullet, one of those was at 1077, and it's showing this at 1066 at 400 yards, and looks like drop at 400 yards is 65 inches. So just about the height of a person. So, you know, if probably a nice little challenge shot at 400 yards. At 150 yards, where this thing is going to start losing its effectiveness, your drop is only 1.6 inches. It's out to 200 yards, it's 10.2. But again, at 200, expansion is going to be questionable, but really easy shot at 200 yards with this. The holdover's minor. So anyway, there it is. Like I said, if you got any questions, post them up. If you got any stories, post those up as well. Comments, we like all that. If you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. And I'm intentionally trying to keep this video pretty clean, not to give YouTube any fodder to just nitpick on stuff. I honestly, guys, I've got 400 plus videos up, and from the strikes that they've been giving me recently, they could pick any one of the videos I've got posted at will from now, then, or back 4 years ago, and knock me 2 strikes and have the channel completely gone in a day if they wanted to. So that's how frustrating it is. But we're going to keep doing these. Coming up is the Bear Creek Ballistics 225 grain HV, and I also have the Hornady 240 grain XTP coming up. And that's a pretty violent test there, guys. So, and I guess that's it, guys. So Matt from Kentucky Range Time, thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.